Hello and welcome back, Snap fans. Got a new featured location video. Do you enjoy these dynamics that the hot locations do create? Having something show up like a little bit more than 40% of the time definitely makes it so that some decks are where they wouldn't be as effective in the base game, just climbing rank. The kind of nudge in the right direction will give it a boost that will allow it to be that much more effective. And I think that not playing this, giving an incentive to not play the same deck every single game is a really good thing for a card game. Like, it's something that I think no other card game really offer. I mean, I remember playing Hearthstone and basically grinding out the exact same deck over and over and over again, and you get some expertise, you get some good like experience with it. There's a level of depth that you'll find with it after a long period of time that you can really enjoy, but the fact of the matter is it's still the same thing. And when you have something in the card pool, or in a location pool rather, that's going to show up so much more frequently than almost half your games, that just completely shifts the dynamic. It makes it so that you're really it's going to pay off if you're able to play a few different cards. So what we have here is going to be a deck built around this card here, Omega Red. Actually can change up which one we're running. We'll switch it over to this boy. He's pretty cool. But yeah, or not. Yep. So there we go. Heck, we can even do it with Ebony. Why not? But yeah, basically what we're looking at here is trying to make the most of this location. This deck is still extremely powerful in its own right without the location, without Onslaught Citadel showing up, but when it shows up, ongoing effects are doubled in that location. So the main goal of the deck is to get 4 specific cards in that location if possible. It's going to be Cosmo, into Omega Red, into Iron Man, into Onslaught. What this accomplishes is you will get an absurd amount of bonus damage from Iron Man, like doubling, quadrupling, and then octupling, I believe, in most cases. Onslaught doesn't, they nerfed it so that it doesn't like double the double, where he gets the benefit twice, but it's still at least a third effect coming into play. So yeah, really big damage coming in from Iron Man. Basically, Onslaught, Iron Man will auto-win at Onslaught Citadel, just by themselves. But when you add in Omega Red, who is going to have this doubled 3 times over, then you're looking at a huge spike of damage to the other locations as well. So that's the goal, and Cosmo just protects it from stuff like Enchantress, potentially some manipulation or other effects that can really disrupt that thing, like if Storm or I don't know, Rhino or somebody, Scarlet Witch, decides to change the location, then it's not going to cut everything, like cut the legs out from under it entirely, but it is going to limit what you can do. Whereas cards like Goose or Storm can be problematic. I guess Goose is something you can't really avoid, but yes, with Storm, it's like if they play this on turn 3, you only get 1 more play at that location, and that's not ideal. You want the things that will disrupt you are stuff like Arrow, stuff like Leech, or really anything that forces you to play your cards separately. We want these 3 together. This 4, 5, 6 is extremely strong, and doubly so at Onslaught Citadel. So yeah, we're gonna break it down a little bit more. I've gone with a Storm variant compared to what a lot of decks have kind of opted for, and I can look at kind of what some of the other methods were for this, but yeah, that's basically what I've opted for, is closing off a lane for myself with Ebony Maw, for both of us with Storm, and then because it's on the field for less time, there's less chance for them to build a power up that is exceeding Omega Red's side buff, or potentially Claw's buff to the side lane, or even Mr. Fantastic could tip it over the edge. So the goal is to really win one lane and then make it so that it's difficult for them to override everything you have going on in the other. Like with Lizard and Ebony Maw, they're really good hard stat values. And then Storm, yeah, really capping off the amount of damage you can do at that location. Juggernaut as well can kind of go into that, but I'm kind of considering removing him. I just made a few adjustments based on a few games I was playing. We were winning, but you know, I like to win as hard as possible and win those games that were really close in contention. Super Scroll is actually interesting. I didn't think about that until just now, but technically speaking, he could be better than... If you're facing a mirror in particular, he's going to be better than anything. So just off the top of my head, I'm going to at least say he's better than Juggernaut, and if I have to take him out for something else once it catches my eye, I'll do that as well. yeah, I think that Uatu is one that I just added over. I think I was running Nightcrawler, which is cool. He can jump into the Ebony Maw space. You can feel comfortable playing him at any location, and then you can always move him out to another one. That allows you to make sure that you have like the 4 slots free in whichever one you prefer. Hey, heck, you even might prevent like a Hobgoblin or something like that, which I could imagine if you're doing like 3, 4, 5, and then somebody Hobgoblins your Iron Man, that definitely really hurts. So I'm curious if that would ever come up, and maybe Nightcrawler is something that would kind of prevent that. But at least for right now, yeah, I'm into this. I think this is working really well. And yeah, like I said, there will be some times where it doesn't work, but like formulaically, this seems like one of the strongest options for this location in particular. Just running through things real quick, making sure that I've got everything that I want before we go. I've seen Ant-Man picked up in this. I generally don't like Ant-Man on the Onslaught location because it's taking up one of those 4 slots, right? And even if it's just these 3 cards, just Omega, Iron Man, Onslaught, that in of itself is great. But Cosmo can really make it much more comfortable. Like Ant-Man doubling his effect is great. Like it's +6, he'll be a 7 damage 1 drop. It's hard to ask for much more, but we're not really worried about winning that lane. Like Punisher's here in case we don't have Iron Man. But even then, like that lane doesn't really need the small pieces. So I'm gonna go with Uatu. I think it makes it more comfortable with figuring out where Ebony Maw or Lizard might want to go. I've been getting Ebony Maw a lot, and I've had to play in the leftmost location just to avoid playing him on Onslaught Citadel. So I think Uatu might, allow me to make a more educated decision on where things should go. Because ideally we want like Ebony Maw on the very rightmost position, and that way Claw can potentially come into play to help him out. We will see, we will see. There's other stuff. We've seen Ronin, we've seen Devil Dinosaur, we've seen some Patriot decks work pretty well with the location. Even the discount stuff, like, is it Sarah, I believe? I don't even have her. So, the one that reduces all cost by 1. Then you've got, of course, Zabu, which reduces cost of 4 drops down to 1 if he's on that location. Makes everything super cheap, so that's pretty cool. But as it stands, I'm happy with this. I didn't even think about Super Scroll until just now, but it does feel better than Juggernaut. Technically Storm Juggernaut, like if you go Lizard, Storm, Juggernaut, you're going to win that lane, and then you're able to then take advantage of like just Iron Man Onslaught together in one location could be really strong, even without the Onslaught Citadel. So I guess I'll miss the Juggernaut in some cases, but at least for right now I want to see if Super Scroll, as people start adapting the meta, I like to play a little counter meta and try to see how I can kind of get ahead of the curve. Like if everybody's playing ongoing decks, then we'll want to try to see how we can take advantage of that. So we'll see. I also just realized that Super Scroll, if he copies it from like an enemy Lizard, he'll be at -1 power, which could be a pretty bad thing, so we'll see. Bifrost is interesting. We're going to check out what's going to be the last little bit here. It's going to be Onslaught Citadel, so we'll be able to play into that later. For right now, we're just going to Lizard over to the left. He'll be sitting in the middle by the end of it. And there's a real possibility that we might want to Storm Bifrost to prevent it from really making as much of an impact. And the Bifrost won't move Ant-Man over, for example. That's kind of cool. Yeah, so far so good. So if I, for example, Super Scroll at Onslaught Citadel, he's going to have Ant-Man's power and Lizard's power. So he's going to get -3 and +3, potentially. And that's kind of interesting. So yeah, he was playing left, assuming that they would go middle, but that's not what's going to be happening here. We're going to be working with, first and foremost, Omega Red. We'll go ahead and snap at this point, because we do have 2 of the 3 key pieces, and I'm pretty sure something like Super Scroll might be able to tip the scale for the rest of it. The goal is just to get at least 10 damage more than my opponent on this location, and that will kind of feed the rest nicely. So this is cool. I really like the Super Scroll. Is going to be, again, hurt by Lizard a little bit, but otherwise has a lot of potential here. The trick I'm seeing is that... Like, I could consider Claw here, right? If he's playing 4, 5, 6, I guess Omega Red's going to buff too hard. But if it plays Iron Man, like, I'm so golden. I'm stealing his Iron Man, stealing his Thunder. I'm really liking this. So, like, if he's playing Omega Red, he's definitely playing Iron Man next. Oh, Captain America. I'll take that. And this Super Scroll, I just added it, but it's already feeling pretty awesome. Yes, it will get hit by the lizard thing, but whatever. I'm into it. And we'll just drop it. So he's got... he doesn't even show what he has, but he has a lot of stuff. Very cool. And this is like a Series 5 card, so I don't think a lot of people will be familiar with it. But whatever he plays here, I've got twice as much of it. I'm very happy with this. Okay, he does get the +2 to all sides, but... Wow, 20 damage. Very cool. So this is Captain America times a million over here. Let's see, Super Scroll buffed him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So each ongoing effect will apply 6 times. And then between Onslaught and Onslaught Citadel, those two cards combined together. So feeling pretty good about that. I mean, look, and look at this. Like, I'm stealing his Omega Red plus my own, and I'm getting so many buffs. All right. Good addition, good addition. So this basically is my answer to mirror matchups. Like, if I'm seeing somebody dropping an Omega Red down on turn 4, it might even be better than Iron Man for me to put my Super Scroll there. Very cool indeed. This is a hard position, because like I don't really want to put Ebony Maw as the only card in need of Leer. He's not going to be able to carry it himself, but I cannot afford for him to land on Onslaughts. So I'd basically rather I pretend I just passed turn. I just like didn't play anything turn 1, and if this doesn't work, then fine. But here's Onslaughts. That's what we want. Hopefully we can get some like a Cosmo. Beautiful. All we need is the Ebony and... or not the Ebony. You know, I mean the Omega Red. And we're feeling pretty good. So we'll go ahead and snap on this in case they play a reveal effect here. They're not going to, realistically, but you usually want to snap when you have more information than your opponent. In this case, they're going to be playing into something where I have priority. If I happen to block a reveal effect, then I want them to realize it like a little too late, I guess. I'm curious if he actually... I played against a Debris recently, and I'm curious if there's a real possibility of him playing a Debris that pulls cards... like plays a Debris here on the side and starts pushing them into here. That's a real concern, I would say. To the point that I actually kind of feel like I want to avoid playing Super Scroll here. Like, he's stealing Patriot, that doesn't really help me. And I'm worried about Debris potentially playing twice if he's really got it working. But I think he'll play Mystique here. He did play Patriot this turn, so he can play Mystique on any of the 2 side lanes. And then I'll copy Patriot. Yeah, so you see that here. That's because she only copies the last card that was played, so you're going to want to play it immediately after Patriot. But yeah, other than that, we still have our pretty basic combo here. I think Claw as our last play is probably going to be the priority here. Onslaught, obviously, it's fun to have the giant number, and it really does scale super high. But yeah, I can't afford to... lose the sidelines, so that's going to be the priority instead. You see 3 damage turns into 12. We're already quadrupling, so this will be 7 times 4. We'll be fine in middle. We'll be fine in middle. So let's go ahead and do this, and while we're at it, throw down a nice little Uatu. I think this will be great. Hopefully he'll stick around. The one thing I don't necessarily like about the Omega Red deck in this context is that it's going to be hard to get players to play out to turn 6. I think it's going to be a little bit unlikely. So he gets a lot of damage here. 19's going to be hard to beat, though. With Lizard at 16, 9 damage. Yeah, that is a lot. So yeah, that's the strength of the situation here with Onslaught Citadel. He couldn't put Mystique here, which is what he wanted, but even still, plus 2 damage from Blue Marvel, plus 4 damage from Patriot, and plus 2 damage from Mystique. So you're looking at a huge boost to these drones, and that'll be enough to swarm the board, no problem at all. So, again, I'm never going to have issues really in this middle lane as long as I have Iron Man down. It's going to be about making sure these side lanes are buffed up enough. And I'm hoping that Omega Red will come into play to make that work. Yeah, so far so good. So yeah, I'm going to try to talk a little less, play a little faster, and just try to get a lot of games in. Just because I do know that this deck is going to be above 50%, at least from what I've seen so far. Now, with Omega Red out, that might change pretty quickly, but... yeah, we'll have to see. So he's going to be playing a Zabu deck. He had Rock Slide, so he's probably going, ideally Darkhawk for him, onto the location, and just getting a massive damage that only Iron Man can compete with. Of course, if I steal that power with Super Scroll, then I'm feeling pretty good. The only issue then is that it doesn't actually help for the other lanes. Again, I can win really hard one lane, but can I win two? I'm not sure. Scovia takes out Iron Man, a big deal here. If at this point I would have tried to retreat, but he's already snapped. We might as well play it out. We'll see what happens. So I'll go ahead and make the most of my mana. I'll play Super Scroll at this location, which will copy his. I mean, some people would just play for the Zabu discount and they won't necessarily have Darkhawk, but if that is the case, then yeah, we'll want it. So Black Widow comes out. I do not draw a card. We're definitely seeing Darkhawk come into play here. But whether or not that can actually go to the location he wants it to, yeah, I imagine he shouldn't have too much trouble there. So if he has like Darkhawk Mystique, I think it's an auto loss at this point. We'll retreat next turn. But there's no real reason to retreat until the next time that the cube goes up, right? He plays it there. He's set up for Mystique, so I can actually block Mystique here, which is kind of cool. And then he's going to give, what, +2 damage? Yeah, +2 damage to Punisher. So I'm going up by 5 damage here. He potentially is going up by 0. If that's the case, that's pretty cool. The real question is, would I be able to win the other lanes? And I feel like even if he does drop Mystique here for 3 of his mana, like he still has 3 other mana that can easily beat Sokovia. So I am going to dip here, unfortunately, but I like that, you know, there's that opening that we got really close here, just with one. Oh, and I have to have priority, right? He's got priority, so Cosmo coming second doesn't really matter. But if Cosmo can block Mystique, and he's definitely playing it there, then yeah, feels good. Oh no, though. That's a crazy exception. Double Sokovia is going to break our combo pretty hard. We have like, some Exodia pieces. We need to make sure we have all of them. And let's see what we have for us here. Onslaught's for the first, but we both know about that. Atlantis for the second, and Kiln for the third. I like knowing about Kiln, because what I can do at the very least is go for Uatu Lizard, and then I think Ebony Maw there too as well. And that'll feel pretty good. Of course, him seeing Uatu, he's going to know that there's value here, that there's something that that is worth playing into. But we'll just kind of take the fact that we have Ebony Omega Red on Onslaughts and feel comfortable about that. This guy's rocking Deadpool. When it gets destroyed, it should only be the 1 base damage that gets doubled, but he can definitely get like 3 destroys in, no problem at all. Bucky Barnes, Carnage on mid, it looks like. Could be Destroyer, actually, since it's turn 3. But now he's going to see Kiln's out, and he's going to realize he really wishes Bucky Barnes was there. Fortunately for him, it is not, and we're going to go ahead and drop our Storm. At that point, we are just Omega Red, and any 5-drop Claw or Iron Man, and then ideally Onslaught if we have it. I actually might not prefer Onslaught over anything that boosts damage on the Citadel itself. So I could see, like, Punisher or Iron Man being better. And we should have at least one of those two, for sure. So there's the Carnage. Kiln is almost guaranteed at this point. His death is not going to be coming in fast enough. So, yeah, we'll just go ahead and play out left lane. This isn't really the kind of deck to run Arrow, so I don't think there's much else that he can do. No Arrow, no Enchantress from what I've seen so far. Just a basic Destroy kit so far. Yeah, I don't think he's expected to be competing with 14 damage here, but he's going for it. He brings in Hood Deathlock. I'm trying to understand the point of that, because you're just putting 5 damage on a lane that is otherwise completely lost. It's kind of weird. Alrighty, I feel like the best play for me is to hide Iron Man, because I want to get him to play till turn 6. So do I just Cosmo it? Yeah. I'm trying to, like, play a little quieter. Obviously, like, Spider-Man or something can destroy me there. Well, I guess only if... Yeah, I'm fine. I don't really care what he plays at this point, as long as it's not Arrow on middle. That's the only thing that can make things more difficult for me. But, yeah, we'll play it out. Iron Man on left. This gives me to 4 cubes. If I play Iron Man last turn, then Omega Red is active ×2, and Iron Man's active ×2. And then he's not playing the right lane at all. Is this Arrow? Okay, so Arrow's coming out, but that doesn't really matter to me. Oh, Arnim Zola. Cute idea. I like the idea. It's gonna be enough, it looks like. So that's... No, never mind. We got the damage on middle, because Arnim Zola obviously destroyed Venom. It takes the damage out of middle, and all he gets is the Atlantis buff, which is not enough. So yeah, like I was saying, if this is one weird min-max that I'm doing in these games that I think a lot of players either don't vocalize or just don't do, is actually you don't want to win too hard. Iron Man on turn 5 at Onslaught Citadel, they see the Omega Red damage, they see the Iron Man damage right here, they're like, well, retreat, for sure. By not playing Iron Man, by playing Cosmo, I end up doubling my cubes. Of course, I end up lending in more risk, where it's like, oh, if I had just had Claw and Iron Man here, I'd feel better, right? But yeah, I wanted to look a little weaker than I actually am. It's just a bait play, and it definitely won't work every time. There will be times where they'll not feel good about the situation regardless, and they'll not play into it, or there will be situations where I bait a little too hard, and the result is that they can bring some pain. So I think that this is a reasonable play here in case I draw a Lizard. Nova Roma coming out for 2 card draws next turn. But yeah, you can play 2 weekly, or you can play 2... Oh, there's a Lizard. Okay. And at the Vault seems like the best place to play because we don't want to play our 4-5-6 combo on to a place that's not going to be open on turn 6. Alright, at this point, we don't really know what this guy's playing. It could be Scorpion, it could be Zabu. I think my best play is actually going to be to just close off the Vault rather than boosting middle. And now we'll see what he's made of, what he's actually rocking. Okay, so this is a Surfer deck at this point. Scorpion like fits into literally everything, but especially is common for the 3 and 4 cost decks. I don't really think of it in almost any other as a primary, because the concern is that what's my probability real quick of drawing Onslaught? Because Onslaught is like... Okay, it's not a guaranteed win. He could definitely play out left. In fact, am I losing this game? Because he plays like anything here, I'm losing left. I do not have... But he's also playing Silver Surfer in middle in that context. So I think it's okay to at least play it out. I don't know if I'm going to win this. I'm not going to snap it, but I think there's a decent chance I can still win this. He ends up picking up Captain America, interestingly enough. Now, he is a 3-cost card, so I guess it's like America Surfer, where he's sliding in a few more ongoing cards. That makes sense in that context. Yeah, interesting situation. If I play Cosmo here, he just Surfers left instead, which does fill one of the 2 slots, but if he just Maximus Surfers on this side, he's like golden. So I feel like I need to... Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Super Scroll is just like a wild card. It creates an opportunity where maybe he plays something that ends up benefiting me as well, and not just the Captain America. So I get Sarah, but I'm only playing 1 card, so it doesn't really matter. I got Onslaught here. Not feeling great about it. So if I had capped Mr. Fantastic, and then Onslaught of Mr. Fantastic, I actually would have been kind of okay. Why am I getting... Yeah, so I've got 9 damage here. I would have 4 more. He can still win with Maximus either way, though. Even if I had 13 here, it's tying it with Maximus, and then Surfer in middle wins it, so... Yeah, no, there's a lot of ways that it could have worked out, but I'm just going to go ahead and retreat on this. Yeah, the one thing that obviously is pretty limiting in this deck is that we're really dependent on getting... Oh, season pass. the draw on Omega Red. He's very, very essential. We need an Omega Red paired with good units in a lane where he can't be silenced or won't be silenced. And that's kind of what it comes down to. In this case, we didn't draw it, even with Nova Roma, which is just bad luck. And now we're missing like the early game cards. We're missing Uatu, Ebony Maw, Lizard. So we're going to be very crowded with cards that we can play for turns 3 through 6, but 4 through 6 actually, now that we hit Icebox on Fantastic, which could be painful here. This is almost all my 4 and above stuff though, in terms of cost here, so it should be okay. Cosmo comes in, okay. Do we feel good enough just with these? I'm gonna say I do, that I'm gonna snap on it, and you know, maybe I'll learn to regret that, but for right now I want to find these patterns where it's like I want to snap as early as I can to feel good, to make sure that I'm like playing into the right mindset. This guy's doing the opposite of what you would expect with a Onslaught Citadel. He's playing with cards that do not have good ongoing effects. So he's playing with Lizard, he's playing with the Typhoid Mary, he's playing with, what's his name? Red Skull. So Red Skull's coming down on right side, presumably. But he might, because he should recognize the threat of Omega Red, and he probably wants to try to mitigate it. But you're going to see these numbers pop up here in a second. We're going to multiply 8. I think we triple it 8 times, or triple it 3 times, or double it 3 times. Sorry. So that's going to be a big number. 32, and that's going to be hard for him to feel like he can beat. But he might say, "Oh, I can still beat the 8s." He probably won't, but if he does, he did play Shuri, so he's going to Shuri Captain or Shuri Red Skull. And I'm curious which lane he would play it in to think that he's going to be able to win. Well, it's not left; it's on the right. So he does this, gets 40 damage, which is really impressive in a game like Marvel Snap. Unfortunately, it's a little bit less than 960. So, you know, we're going to be all right here, turns out. So, nice 4 cubes for that. Like, literally, I didn't play any other cards. Like, the 4 cards I mentioned, Cosmo, Omega, Iron Man, Onslaught, and I get 24, 24, 960. Absurd. All I gotta do is make sure that these 4 cards line together, and this can win almost any game. If somebody is pumping into everything that's not Onslaught Citadel and they can find 25 damage there, cool. Definitely can happen. Heck, Sunspot Infinite can do it themselves. But, you know, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Until people run into this too much and realize it's not an option, or try to copy it, and that's where Super Scroll comes in. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But, again, I'm going to try to just speed up the games, because I feel like a little bit less next level thinking and a little bit more just clicking end turn and moving on will result in me just getting more cubes in the span of like an hour or 2. Which is all we really have for the game today. But yeah, Ebony Maw, we just don't want to put him on the right side. Let's go ahead and just leave him left. We could bring him middle and hope that Westview doesn't turn into it. I don't think Westview is calculated when it when it discusses probability. But he gooses on the right, which is definitely the one card that I was actually afraid of. And Goose on Onslaught Citadel is pretty solid overall. So right now I can storm it, and we can see what happens there, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's okay, because what we can still do is 4, 5, 6 over here, and win one of these 2 lanes. I think this guy's running the Cerebro deck, and so he's hoping that he gets Cerebro 2 on here to get double damage from it. But unfortunately, Onslaught Citadel is not going to exist in a moment, and he's not going to get that. So maybe just the... Oh, Zabu. Interesting. Okay, so it's a Zabu deck that might be able to Spider-Man me out still. But we're feeling okay. We can still do the same thing that we've been doing on all the other lanes. We could do Claw here instead of Iron Man, but I feel better about Iron Man because we have Mr. Omega. Now, because he is running 4-cost cards, Super Scroll could be good too. It's interesting, though. I think my Omega Red will reduce the damage advantage that he has over on this side, and that should be enough for me to be able to say GG. So just to make sure that we get that effect triggered and it doesn't like double back on itself, we're going to go ahead and play Iron Man now. In case it gets close next time around. I don't think it will, but he's running Zabu, so he very well could have Enchantress in his deck. Even if he's running Omega. Long, going for some on-reveal effects. And reducing damage, so really, really trying to counteract. And with, so I'm curious how much, I actually kind of want to play this out just to see how much damage I can do in the lane if I don't have, so I guess we can math it out, right? So we're going to have this trigger 4 times, right? Or is it because Odin triggers twice, we're actually seeing it 8 times? This is a really good counter. Do I want a Luke Cage? Put a Luke Cage in here? I don't think so, but yeah, so he gets double Hazmat. As you can see, I went from 5 to 3. And when he plays Odin in a second, it's going to do much more than that. How do I feel about Claw? Claw gives kind of like artificial damage over to the right, but we lose left. And it's because it's Titan. I think Luke Cage is a 2 cost. So he can't play Luke Cage for himself. He's going to be affected by it, but I just have more cards here. So I don't think it's going to work out for me. Especially with the Iron Man doubling it in the negatives. So this is really interesting. Yeah, Onslaught's going to do +7 damage, but then he's going to take so much more away that I'm in the negatives, and my Iron Man is doubling negatives. That's kind of cool. Very neat. And of course there's a chance he doesn't have Odin there, but we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt for sure. Death is in play. We'll see what the second location is to decide where Lizard will go. Xandar. Okay, Lizard on Xandar is not the best thing in the world, but it's not bad. We also have the option of storming Death's Domain here. We'll see what happens on the next location. Adam's not going to be doing much immediately, but if he puts Brood down, he's going to be drawing a lot of cards this game. Okay, so we have to play Ad Avengers Compound for the Iron Man factor. I'm trying to think of what we could do in the meantime. If we think Brood is coming down, I think this is actually the best card to play on my turn 3. I don't think this deck runs... this is probably a Mr. Negative deck, and I don't think that runs Enchantress under any circumstance. I think it does run double Iron Man, though. Iron Man Mystique. But yeah, he's gonna on turn 4. So on turn 3, he's gonna play like Brood here, and turn 4, he's gonna play like Mr. Negative on the left lane. There's not much you can do about that though, so I'm just gonna. Do I snap? I don't know if I get the draws I need for this, but we'll see. He's okay. He's gone. He's out of here. He's not into it. Very interesting. I'm curious what his hand looked like that he's not feeling that. Yeah, Atom Warrior doesn't have to go with Mr. Negative. It's just most powerful, specifically Mr. Negative. It could easily go in like a Surfer deck or something. You want to show me the goods. Sakar. Sakar is interesting because it could put a card there that we really don't want to have there, and that's something to keep in mind. Let's see. I don't think I mind any of these, to be honest. Claw for free, not too shabby. Magneto for free is a little better for him, but hopefully it'll work out. Weird visual bug. So we know this is Muir Island, but we'll go ahead with it. So Magneto's an interesting factor as well. He can pull my... basically all of my cards other than... all but 3 of my cards into a position I don't want them to be in. So that's interesting to note if he ever kind of gets the chance. We'll go ahead and just play this. Right now he's playing a discard deck, it looks like, so I don't think the goal for Magneto is disruption. More so he's just like a really big body. Don't feel great about a snap here, as kind of we've already played one of our big cards. But yeah, he's going to go ahead and snap, and I'm definitely going to stick with it. We'll see what happens after that. Well, if I storm here... he really has to fill up Muir Island after that quite a bit. Which is better is the question. Is it well, I guess we're not playing So with Onslaught, Mr. Fantastic actually is pretty good here. If he just plays Odin on middle, though, I'm feeling a little dicey about that. So I'm not sure that we're going to have enough damage here. We'll see what he ends up pulling out here in a sec. Mystique, Wong, blah, 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 blah. So he's just going to do one thing a lot of times. Oftentimes it's just something as simple as Ironheart, but it could be some other stuff too. Super Scroll doesn't really help me here. I'm going to go with the Onslaught, and we'll just have to see how ugly this lane looks after the fact. So right now, it's receiving 2 Mr. Fantastics. After this, I think it receives a 6, which is plus 12 damage, so 4 plus 12, not bad. Gambit, oh, okay. Does take out Mr. Fantastic, which does kill off. Okay, actually, this just kills everything, right? Wong Mystique, doubled up. I like that idea. That's not a bad strat. We're seeing some cool stuff here. We saw the Hazmat Wong combo. I think this works out well too. I don't have Wong or Mystique, so I'm not going anywhere near this stuff. But I do think, yeah, Gambit, just killing off. It actually killed less cards than I expected, right? It killed 1, 2, 3, 4 cards, which is, you know, obviously great, but it just doubled the double. I've seen Onslaught Citadel come into play where it doubles the Wong effect too, and it's so ugly. Obviously he couldn't there because Cosmo. More power to him, but yeah. Alright, so we're getting taken down a peg. We're seeing a few of the counters that can come into play. I still feel like this is probably our best option so far from what we see, but yeah, Hazmat's a great answer to Iron Man, which is very popular right now, and Gambit's just good overall, and especially when some of the Wongs that, if I don't get Cosmo, like, we don't actually do that. I'm not thinking properly. Let's just go with this. It's going to be a little bit easier for me to win Monster with kind of secondary damage compared to Nidavellir, which is just going to be pumped with stats. So yeah, we like Cosmo here because any Wong decks are not happy to see it. They're going to want to see Wong in that location, and we're going to try to keep it away from them. I could Storm, though. What's probability-wise, it's better to Storm, right? I'm not sure. Let's see what happens.
Wind, aid my hand.
So he's running this. Super Scroll could be huge. But yeah, for right now, we've got our 4 and our 5. Yeah, I think keeping Super Scroll in the back pocket for turn 6 could be massive. Because, like, even if he plays Onslaught, I get that Onslaught. He copies all ongoing abilities, so that's super cool. Namor's 10 damage, not bad at all. So he's playing a full ongoing deck, which is great to see. Because Super Scroll's in our hand. And I actually don't think anything beats Super Scroll when he has this going for him. Like, I'm going to get Punisher's passive, I'm going to get Namor's passive. Yeah, that's my turn 6. Oh no, he played Iron Man. Me too. In fact, I have 2 Iron Mans here. Okay, this is going to be so sick. This is going to be an insane amount of damage. Looking forward to it. Final turn. Hello, hello. We can go ahead and throw in a Uatu here just to make it a little more insane. Is there any way that I'm losing? I'm not losing left lane, like, at all, right? Oh, he could play Omega Red over there. I didn't get to see the fireworks. Even still, this is such a great tech card that, again, Series 4, or Series 5, I think? I actually don't remember. I think it might have just gotten moved down from Series 5 to 4, but either way, it's not a super common card. And I haven't yet to use it. It's kind of nice to be able to actually take advantage of stuff you've had in your collection, so. Titan and Xandar. So it's going to be easier to play Onslaught earlier, which gives me the chance to play that before Iron Man. And I do like that fake out when it comes to cubes. We'll play on Xandar, no reason not to, right? I guess if the secondary lane that we're trying to win is... Do we want to destroy... Yeah, which one do we want to destroy with Storm, I guess is the real question. Do we want to destroy Titan, or do we want to destroy Xandar? And I guess it's Xandar. Probably overthinking that, but we'll go with it. Yeah, I think Storm is better than Cosmo, unless they've already shown that they're doing reveal stuff. Because they can always just reveal the other 2 lanes. The only reason that Cosmo's strong there is for counter cards and for dealing with Wong. But we're here. We're pretty happy with this. I mean, even just Mr. Fantastic on Onslaughts alone makes it really nice. So we'll see what happens here, but it's kind of looking good. I think he'll just retreat here because he hasn't played anything, but let's go ahead and drop it. Yeah, Claw guaranteed wins middle as well. So we just have to focus on one lane, which we're more than happy to do. Darkhawk, welcome to the fray. Not going to be good enough, but... Ooh, we get that as well? That's cute. Okay. So is double Omega Red going to be enough? I think it is. So I kind of want to... Alright, if he's going in, let's go in, dude. Oh yeah, I think I just played this, and Super Scroll Claw, and guaranteed win. Like, I don't think there's any cards other than arrowing me to Xandar that will work for that. It's like, okay, do I get this twice? Do I? Oh, and Cosmo locked it? Thanks for the snap, dude. Oh, this is end turn? Okay. So, this is going to be enough, right, just with Omega Red? I think so. Even if he stuffs cards into my deck, I think I'm fine. Because at the worst case, I win Xandar. Let's say he runs, like, Rock Slide and Korg over here. Sure. Okay, so Omega Red's just going to carry here. Oh, I get Iron Man too? Hello. Dude, Super Scroll. Thank you. Have a nice day. 88 damage. No problem at all. Very nice. So that keeps it subtle. Like, we play Claw here. Yeah, we keep middle clear, but, like, we don't want him to know what our game plan is. And this deck in general is, like, very obvious with how it plays. So anytime I get to obscure the timing of things is kind of nice. Like, I can feel really confident in my turn 6. As long as I have the right cards, which I usually do. And that's not really to speak to, like, deck building skills or something like that. This is just the fact of the game. Like, there's only 12 cards in each deck, and, you know, Novaroma gives me cards, so feeling good, especially when there's an Onslaught Citadel in play in general. Obviously, most of these games I wouldn't have been feeling nearly as good without Onslaughts. We do get hit by Black Widow, but we also have our 4, 5, 6, so the one thing we do have to worry about is Enchantress. We don't have Cosmo on the board. I'm still going to snap in spite of it, but I really wish I did have Cosmo. Because Enchantress is 100% a reasonable thing when you're running a Zabu Darkhawk anyways. I'm trying to think of the full list. Like, it's going to be Zabu, Darkhawk, Mystique, Black Widow, Korg. Is it worth it just to do this? No, because I don't get any side damage. And that I still need to be aware of. But if he's running Darkhawk, then I can actually avoid Iron Man and just Super Scroll. So I could still do, like, Cosmo, Omega Red, Super Scroll. Is that enough? Maybe not, because he'll have the... It just kind of cancels out the Darkhawk that he's running. And in fact, his deck has less cards. So yeah, we'll just, we'll play the Omega. So, all of his cards are like 1 mana now, which is just something we'll have to get used to. I think I Super Scroll here, though. If I had Super Scrolled last turn, I actually would have the Zabu, which would make Omega Red cheaper. I don't know how... That would actually make it cheap enough to play Cosmo as well. Interesting. So if I know he's running Black Widow, then I think I would actually want to play Super Scroll if I have it, because that will give me the Zabu, which allows me to play Omega Red super cheap. It's very weird, these little dynamics, but I think it has a lot of potential. As long as this is an Enchantress, I'm feeling good. Spider-Man and Moon Girl. I'm just going to go with the assumption that it is not Enchantress. Wait, that's the wrong audio line, but okay. He already snapped. Anyways, as long as he doesn't Enchantress me, I'm okay. So we'll just hope for that. And if he does Enchantress me, then, you know, GG. Yep, there it is. Okay. So my Onslaught hits absolutely nothing, which is fine. And I wasn't playing first, so Zabu wouldn't have saved me either, but I could have retreated off of that. So I didn't see most of the cards I expected. We saw Zabu, Jones, Queen, Jubilee, Spider-Man, Moongrill, Dinosaur, Enchantress. So he probably runs Absorbing Man more so than like Korg, Rockslide, Darkhawk. But I feel like this is just like a fake out. Just running this card alone makes me go through an entire train of thought related to an archetype that he doesn't necessarily have to have, and frankly should be rather rare based on the card series, being Series 5 and all. There you go, bud. What we got? Elysium, Onslaught, Citadel, Expansion. So a lot of card play. Nice, cheap, easy. I like to save Ebony Maw for turn 3. And I guess we'll just fill up over here pretty confidently. Not enough to snap. In fact, I've got all my cheap cards early, which usually is good, but it means that I don't have like the guaranteed 4, 5, 6 in my hand. This guy's playing Destroy though, so I'm not too worried. Yeah, because I could just do this, I assume. That's kind of nice. We'll snap it. See what happens. And after turn 3, we'll get a random card here. Professor X is the coolest, but Destroyer would be fine. I don't know. There's such a range of things it could be. Yondu. Yeah, full Destroy deck. I think we actually might lose if it's Galactus on left. Do I have to account for that somehow? I could play that. Counter out Galactus on left. Fill up the board on right. I like that. And then we'll get a random card here. Alright, so we see his turn 5 play. He doesn't have any... He just boosted himself up to 5 mana, which is cool and all, but doesn't really do that much. And now I think we fake it in middle a bit. I'm not sure. I think that we still want 107 here. Just from Fantastic. Okay. It's a tough call. I don't... Oh wait, we have 3 more turns. So this is only one of 3 cards I'm committing. Yeah, that's fine. For some reason the Elysium mana threw me off. Yeah, we can just Punisher here, no big deal. Yeah, ideally on when there's Titan or Elysium, I'm going to play Iron Man as my last card. That said, I'm effectively, by playing this Punisher, making my ceiling, lowering my ceiling, because if my next 2 draws, you know, pretty improbable, if my next, out of 4 cards, if my next 2 card draws are Omega Red and Onslaught, then that's a big deal. So he goes for that. We get to see what he does first. I guess I don't... Well, I didn't have Daredevil at the time, but yeah, Cosmo feels like a good play against Galactus. So we just see Spider-Man, which lets us play here, and then we just worry about the others. Or do we Onslaught to get the big Mr. Fantastic on the side lanes? I like that. I like Mr. Fantastic on the side lanes and like an Iron Man left. So he's got almost impossible order to fill right now. No ongoing from his side, so we'll just play the Iron Man and call it good. He should retreat though, for sure. He didn't play Death on Wave, which is interesting. I guess he didn't really destroy anything though, just Yondu, so -1 cost. I'm trying to think of what this deck is trying to... I think this is just like a tech card that's trying to punish Citadel players, but we got a lot of lanes to play around. Okay. No bonus damage on the side. I'm wondering how much I was relying on it. Apparently a lot. Looks like that's it. That's where you'd want Cosmo on... We still won! Basic math, guys. What? I guess he thought Punisher was getting more from the location than it was or something? Like, I don't know. I don't know what that is. There's no extra effects. It's just literally 3 cards played. Alright. We play on. So yeah, Enchantress is coming out more frequently. I should definitely pair Cosmo with Onslaught Citadel. I think going 5-head with the anti-Galactus play is cool and all, but I'm just not sure that it makes sense. We'll see. Yondu Destroy. Is this the same guy? I believe it is. What did I just lose? Wow, I've not been paying attention. I kind of blinked out, but it's okay. We'll just Cosmo there, and it'll be great. But I guess if we... Yeah, it's an interesting conundrum, because if we don't Cosmo on the right, and he does have Galactus, and he waves it out, do we just hold it and see if he gets any ramp? Because we haven't seen Galactus from this guy yet. Assuming it's the same guy. I believe it is. And if we haven't seen Galactus yet, Psylocking out 4-drop and a Destroy deck. So he's probably just going to play it left to get the Asgard, which means that I'm less... Well, Fantastic's helping the best he can. I don't know. I'm kind of into it. Like, I'll snap it. See what happens. And just 4-drops aren't that scary. Like I say, Spider-Manning, like whatever. Enchantress thing, not this early. Okay, 4-drop on the right, double reveal. Jubilee? No, Electro, okay. So he is a Galactus, but if I just... I'm getting Asgard next turn, most likely, so... Then we just try to Cosmo it, right? He does have a lot of mana this turn. He can only play 1 card, but he is dropping a 6 card. So he could just drop a 6 cost right here and win Asgard, in which case we don't have Cosmo to play with. But we'll just play with what we have. See what happens. This guy doesn't seem like the brightest, just based on what we saw from the last game, but we'll see. 1 card at a time. So big 6 damage card on the right, presumably. We don't have 10 damage yet on middle, so we're not going to get the Omega Red buff. But this is definitely the only play we make, right? Okay, get Asgard. Enchant. This guy has to be... I mean, he wants to play Death, I get that, but... What is... There's no way, like... Absorbing Man? Is he gonna try to, like, next level me with Absorbing Man? I can block that off, I guess. Or maybe he really wants to set up a Galactus. I don't know. I'm gonna Cosmo mid either way. Because I do not want, like... Yes, Iron Man Onslaught's super OP, but, like, even Iron Man here would be perfectly fine. Yeah, at first I was thinking, could this possibly be a Agatha deck? Because that just makes no sense to me. But yeah. So what are we doing? Are we expecting more than 7 damage? I mean, if he puts 7 damage here, he's not putting enough to win the other lanes, right? This is already losing by 4. This is losing... This is probably closer tied. Yeah, he's up by like 2 here, so he doesn't really need anything here, but if he closes off Omega, but he still needs something on left. So I'm happy with just Onslaught here. Yeah, goodbye. I think the Cosmo play is still the correct one. Like, I don't know what he's looking to make happen, but he still has 6 mana. And... No, it's just too late. Like, if he Enchantress this here, he didn't get a chance to wave to, like, Death plus X, so I don't really know. Is what it is. Sometimes you can't make sense of nonsense. Noob PP69. I feel like I'm going to get absolutely destroyed just based on this guy's name. A little annoying. I haven't dealt with Collapsed Mind with this build. If he has a... I guess I'm okay with it, but I'm more worried about the whole Ebony Maw played at the wrong location is devastating thing. So yeah, there's not too much harm in passing. Like, Worst case, I don't get to play 1 mana of cards. Raft is interesting. Well, obviously we can't fill the raft with this fellow. Yeah, we'll just go here. So the goal is just for him to fill the raft with a bunch of weak stuff, and then for me to... Like, he could, for example, brood here. Ooh, okay, let's go ahead and stop the brood play, first and foremost, and then we can see what happens after that. Okay, no brood, but a reveal him from Mr. Sinister. So this guy's running Cerebro, which is totally fine. And gives me a few options. I'm gonna go ahead and Punisher for right now. I think that's better than... Actually, Storm is better. Let's Storm first. Because we can always put damage into here with Claw, with Mr. Fantastic, or Mr. Fantastic Onslaught, like, no problem. So, he only has 1 turn to play a full board of 2 drops here. Oh, he's realizing that he's not actually going to get any buffs from Cerebro because of how Jotunheim works. Interesting. So yeah, I'm still thinking Fantastic is pretty sweet here, and then we can just play the Flooding as well. And all that works nicely. Debating of trying to go for like a Super Scroll play based on the fact that he's going to be running Cerebro Mystique, but I don't think it really helps me nearly as much because all my cards are different attack values. But yeah, I think, so he's going to get potentially a lot of damage here. Let's see, +2? Is it +2 to everything? So we can get he can get +4 with Cerebro Mystique, and if that's the case, then it'll be plus, yeah. So it'll be like tripling the damage emit, which is 24. Blue Marvel first and foremost. So it's a Cerebro 3 play, so he's going to be trying to put a lot in. I'm trying to remember the math, the mana cost for Cerebro. Maybe you can look it up, but if you can Cerebro and Mystique this turn, then left is in a little bit of trouble. Or mid is. Yeah, we'll just check out the mana cost real quick, because I forget. Don't remember everything. It is a 3/0, so he can Cerebro Mystique, which would be a pretty solid endgame, because it would give him 24 damage here. It would give him +4 at this location. I think I still win with Onslaught, though, just doubling the Mr. Fantastic buff. I'm not sure. So if he gets +4, and this goes up to 7, we're only tie-breakering here. I actually do think I lose because of the tiebreaker factor. Unfortunate. Again, I can buff Ebony Maw's damage a lot, but it means I lose middle because I don't have enough mana. Alright, we'll retreat this. Not a big deal. Four cubes is kind of painful, but is what it is. I'm gonna try to figure out if I can pause the video here and take a quick break.